Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. So nice to see you all again. So nice to be seen. We're back with another community conversation. I am Al Moore, Senior Advisor and owner of Al Moore Financial, and I am thrilled to be back with you all. We're flying solo dolo today. Don't have my co-pilot, my co-captain, Miss Allie. She's working on some other things, so I'm flying solo today, but definitely got to get back in the studio with her soon. Definitely miss her. We got a great show today for you guys. Some good information for the family. Going to be speaking on your first investment. We're going to be speaking on what I like to call your first investment, and just some other good data and information to be going through, which I think is going to be right on time for this new year. So, but before that, first rule of housekeeping, we have to pay homage and acknowledge for our sweet sister that has transitioned, Miss Quabila Jones, a big part of KLEK, a big part of Jonesboro, Arkansas, just a big part of the Jonesboro community. So I wanted to start by dedicating the show to her legacy, and to her memory, and just initially take a brief moment of silence, just in remembrance of her. Okay, so as always, Quabilla, Miss Jones is always on our mind, and like I said, this show will be dedicated to her. And though in the physical form she has transitioned, her spirit will always be with us, be here with the community of Jonesboro, here with the KLEK family, and she will always be present in our minds and hearts. So with that, let's get into the first segment. What we normally do since we last spoke, when I come come bearing with you guys, just kind of um new news, as you would say. But we see each other once a month, so in 4 weeks a lot of things can happen. But I like to just kind of lead off with some things that I think finance wise, economy wise, I think will be beneficial. So since we last spoke in 2022, because it is now calendar year 2023, the Secure Act 2.0 passed. Um, and you may have heard about it, you may not have heard about it, because it was actually stuffed in a huge $1 trillion budget bill that was passed last year, that was finally signed by the president, um, amongst a ton of things within that bill. A significant thing that I paid attention to was the Secure Act. Now, it's the Secure Act 2.0 because we've actually had a first Secure Act that kind of dealt with things as it relates to employer benefits, retirement planning, taxation of retirement benefits, and things like that. And I'll actually be doing, I think I'm going to do a video on it um, probably on my Al Moore Financial page on Facebook sometime next week, just to kind of delve into it a little further. Like I said, I know if you're here, you're watching with us now, you are a person who keeps finances and your financial well-being and financial planning at top of your mind. So it's something that you definitely want to be paying attention to. Uh, the brunt of it kind of spoke to employers and employees, but there's still a significant amount in there that was for people who are self-employed or small business owners themselves. A couple of the highlights that kind of stood out to me, amongst others, because there was so much. Um, Coming soon, some retirement plans will allow for your employer to make a matching contribution for qualified student loan payments. So, Al, what does that mean? That means that hypothetically, just a summation of the situation. Let's say you have a student loan payment a qualified student loan payment of $100 a month, your employer has the option to say, hey, you made $100 payment towards your student loan. We're going to match that and put we're going to match that $100 and put that into your retirement plan. So, that can be huge. We've all heard of the long talks and the burdens and the hardship that student loans are having on us as a whole, as an economy as a whole. Student loan debt is one of those things that I won't delve too far into, but it's one of those things that it's going to come to a boiling point at some point. A lot of people keep kind of passing the buck and putting a band-aid on a problem, but if we don't figure out a solid solution to do something with the cost of education and the interest that compounds and compounds over years. Some people end up having to pay more for their student loans than they do for their houses. When you look at what might have been a $30,000 loan in 1998, but it may take you 40 years to pay that off, and $30,000 is turned into 400,000. I mean, there are some cases where it's been, some people have literally paid the amount that they borrowed and they're still in debt another $100,000. So they may have borrowed 30,000 10 years ago. They've paid 30,000 and they still owe, another 100,000. So it's at some point, like I said, we're not going to we can't solve it here, but at some point, the powers that be that sign things into law, somebody's going to have to deal with just the whole way that system works. But getting back to Secure Act 2.0, that matching contributions is very come in handy. So you definitely want to keep that on your radar to see if your employee plan will be bringing that option available. And they also are going to start having emergency withdrawals from your 401k from your 401k. Now, of course, I wouldn't be, doing my job as a advisor to advise people to take money out of your 401k. That should always be your last option, to take money out of your 401k. And if you do, definitely make sure that you maybe take a loan to yourself to start paying back. But this is the real world, and some people run into real world issues where they say, hey, I need a couple $100 or I need $1,000 out of my 401k. I have this emergency or I have this medical situation. I don't have anywhere to turn. I have to get this. And they are working so that you can take that money without having to be assessed the normal 10% penalty that normally comes along with that. So just trying to provide people with a little relief. Like I said, it's not much, but I always tell y'all, you'll hear me say it a million times, it's not what you make, it's what you can keep. So the more money that you can keep without having to be assessed that 10% penalty, all the better. And lastly, they're going to have higher catch-up contributions. So this rings more pertinent to my clients who are 55 and up, 60 and up. Those last, couple of years, last decade or so, going into retirement, the government allows you to what they call have catch-up contribution. So, at one point, the max contribution you can put into an IRA might be, 5,500, and now, once you hit that, what I like to call that golden age bracket, they allow you to put extra money in. So might go from $7,000 to $8,000, and they're going to increase it even more. So if you have a parent or uncle or cousin that's really got retirement on their mind and they're in that window, they're in that 55, 60-year-old window, and they're like, hey man, I want to kind of max out my benefits for retirement, that's something that's going to be beneficial to them. Like I said, I'm talking to some of my clients about that, just about what that looks like, and budgeting for that and being able to take advantage of that tax deferred growth in an IRA. So Just in your free time, if you have some downtime and you want to do some lengthy reading, or you got insomnia, you can't sleep, you need something to put you to sleep, pull up that Secure Act 2.0 and take a look at all the things that are changing. And like I said, we're going to I think I'm going to do a live on my Almore Financial page about that. Just kind of going in depth with a little more that we don't necessarily have the time to get into here. So it's going to wrap up our Since We Last Spoke segment. So now just moving into the bread and butter of things, the things you need to know segment. So where we just really get into the bread and butter of the show. So the things you need to know, the things you need to know today is that insurance is your first investment. Particularly for my clients. Like I say, if you get 10 wealth managers, financial advisors in a room, you may get 3 or 4 answers about um the foundation, what your first investment should be. But protecting your income, replacing your income, protecting your ability to work, your ability to earn income, and having a valuable replacement for your income should something happen to you is your first priority on your financial planning journey, in my opinion. I don't work with any clients if we don't do insurance planning for you first. I'm not saying that you have to do your insurance through me. What I'm saying is you have to have an insurance plan in place, because as an advisor, we're putting together 15, 20, 25-year plans. We're putting together a plan to have a certain amount during retirement and to have that money invested in a way that, we can take you to age 95, age 100 without you having to worry about running out of money. That's the job as an advisor. My job also as an advisor is to see around the corners that you can't. It's a tough conversation to have, but it's reality and it's real life. God forbid something happened to you early in the game when you didn't plan. You have all these investments put together, but you don't have any cold hard policies to, within a couple of days, within the weeks, have income to your family to take care of expenses, to take care of the home. You can leave the people that you care about the most in a bad position. So, your first investment is always going to be a solid insurance plan. And so when we get into that, there's some, for lack of a better term, there's some conversation about, oh, Al, which one's the best, or this insurance is bad, or this insurance is good. And like Allie and I touched on last time we were here, I always say there's not really a bad type of insurance. There are companies who are better than one another, but the type of insurance is best for you all depends on what your needs are. And that might not be the best type of insurance for the next person. So we just have what I like to call a tale of two strategies. And there are multiple kinds, but we'll use the most common two to kind of make my point here. So most people are familiar with what they call term insurance and permanent or whole life insurance, which are kind of interchangeable. And the difference is, one is permanent. You have a fixed payment a fixed for a fixed amount of time to either pay the policy up, but the policy doesn't, unless you stop paying your payment, the policy doesn't end. You don't have to go through underwriting more than once. Once you get the policy, it's in place, it's stuck there. You set it and forget it. And the other one is kind of temporary. You can set it for so many years, and we're talking about term. You set that policy for so many years, and at the end of that term, you have the possibility or the option to basically get a new term. So if you do a 10-year term and you happen not to pass away on that 10th year in one day, that policy is going to lapse, and you're going to get a call saying, "Hey, Mr. Customer, I just want to let you know that your term policy has concluded. You know, would you like to start another one or apply for another one?" Like so, you can get term policies in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I think now they even have some 40. Matter of fact, I know they have 40-year term policies now. I've seen some. And the trade-off with that is, um, A, your insurance is always going to be cheaper yesterday than it is tomorrow. And all that means is that every day you get older, the price of your insurance changes. So a 25-year-old um in decent average health, they can get a term policy for 18, 20 bucks a month for 100 grand. Probably for 20 some odd years. But let's just say that same 25-year-old, they get that $100,000 policy. It's costing them 18 bucks a month. They have it for 20 years. And, you know, thankfully they don't pass away in those 20 years. Well, now they're 45 with zero life insurance. So at this point, they might have a family. You know, they may have had a surgery or something in their 30s. They may have developed arthritis. You know, they may have gotten higher blood pressure, put on a little weight. So now that same term policy that was $18 20 years ago, you might be able to do another 10, 20-year term policy, but now you're looking somewhere around close to 50 bucks a month. Probably almost double, maybe even more, just depending on the company and what bells and whistles you get. But that strategy works for people who are saying, "Hey, I I don't want to spend a bulk of my money in my insurance because I have an alternate investment plan outside of that. And the difference in what I would pay in insurance for whole life versus term, I'm going to invest that." Or some people, you know, Dave Ramsey, um, that's kind of his motto. He'll tell you not ever that permanent or whole life insurance a hustle or a scam. You don't need it. Get yourself a 30-year term, take the difference and invest it in a new fixed index fund, which is a strategy for some people that will work. That is not the best strategy for all people. That's why I always tell you guys, there's no one financial advisor who knows everything, because every person's financial situation is different. You know, if you want to, if you're talking about being a millionaire and up tens of millions, they may take more advice from Robert Kiyosaki. You want to, you're talking about people who are middle class, um, between 500,000 and a million, you're probably talking Dave Ramsey, something way, way more conservative. You're talking to people just getting started in money, they probably are taking advice from a Susie Orman. But all of those advisors kind of have they're all talking to different people. Whether they are explicitly telling you that or not, they're not all talking to the same people. So I don't ever want you guys to be in this position to where you think, "Oh, well, Robert Kiyosaki said this," or the guys on Earn Your Leisure said this, or Susie Orman said this. You have to keep in mind, as with me, same with me, I'm not the best advisor for each type of person. Some people have, you know, some specific needs that I would refer them to a different advisor for, and vice versa. So, like I said, there's good advice to take all around. Eat the fish, eat the meat, and spit out the bone with all of them. Take what you can, but don't ever lock yourself in a position to thinking, "Oh, well, this person is saying this about this product, so there must be something wrong with me. I must be doing something wrong." What you should say is, what you should think is, this person is saying something counter to what I believe is best. Let me do some more research to find out what the disconnect is, because the disconnect might be, "Oh, okay, well, what they were talking about works better for a person who has A and D. I'm a person who has B and C. So it actually may not be what's best for me. So that's kind of the thing with insurance. So like I said, if you're a person, if you're super disciplined about investing on your own and you're like, nope, I got a quote for whole life insurance, it's $120, and I got a quote for term for the same amount. It's a 30-year term for $30. I'm going to take the $90 that I'm saving. I'm going to invest that in my own vehicles, my own IRA. Hey man, listen, perfect. Kudos. Nothing wrong with that at all. But that may not be everybody's ministry. Some people treat insurance as an investment. And if you're going to treat insurance as an investment, make sure that you treat insurance as an investment. And a lot of times, that might mean getting in certain whole life products like an IUL. If you're like, hey, I want to get the life protection, but I also want to put some extra cash into it because I want to kind of grow that money and I want to be able to have some tax-free income in retirement, or I want to be able to do these things. And I want to see that cash value kind of accumulate, but you have to set the parameters for the budget to do so. Even if you have a whole life policy, if you're just dumping 40, $50 a month into it, it's going to take a lot for that cash value to grow. And just depending on what kind of policy you're in, you might be in the kind of policy that doesn't allow you to, it might cap you at a certain percentage of interest. So that's something you want to be very, very mindful of. And, another thing that I kind of run across is people saying, well, permanent insurance is so high, like that they charge you all these fees, it's so high, so high, so high. So here's that conversation I want you to have with yourself. As an advisor, I've worked in finance coming up on a decade. And what I've learned working with people and money is that very seldom is it about affordability as much as it's about priority. I'm explaining to you what I mean. I've run quotes for people and I come back and say, hey man, we got this great life insurance policy for you. It kind of comes with some investment bells and whistles that you were looking forward to that you can kind of take advantage of to kind of grow the extra cash that you need later on. The premium for, your monthly premium is $250 a month. And they're like, oh man, that's so high. $250 a month. Like, oh man, that's high. That's really high. And I just kind of, I'm listening because these are also the same people who have a $500 car note. They have a $200 phone bill. And so what I just remind them, we just kind of go through the things, especially if we've already been doing some planning and I can see your budget. I'm like, well, you spend $500 a month on your car. You spend $200 a month on your phone. You spend another 300 or 400 bucks on your travel clubs and subscription services. So the question we should be asking here is not can you afford it, because clearly you can. The question we're asking ourselves is, where does my life insurance and my income in retirement, where does that fall on my list of priorities? And sometimes the answer is, well, my car, my phone, and my subscriptions are higher on my priority list than having life insurance, or are higher on my priority list than um, having tax-free income in retirement and supplementing my retirement with something. And sometimes it's just a conversation that we need to have to say, hey man, listen, whatever your priorities are, that's fine. But let's not have an affordability conversation when we really should be having a priority conversation. And if so, then we can find you a cheaper insurance so that we can make sure we have a $500 car, or we could see if we can get a $300 car and take those $200 and make sure we're investing it, whether we're investing or putting in life insurance. So those are just kind of the tales of two strategies when it comes to insurance. Like you said, you got permanent and you got term. There's not necessarily a good or bad. There are some companies that are better than others, but they both kind of serve their purpose. So pushing up on our time, before we get out of here, I want to kind of give you guys, normally I'll do the saw that in the book, but we're gonna swap that out today for a fun fact. So I want to read you guys 5 fun facts. That's called Life Insurance Success Stories. So these are 5 businesses saved by life insurance. So in 1929, James Cash Penny used the cash value in his life insurance policy to keep his day-to-day expenses running for his company that we came to know as J.C. Penney, or as I like to call everybody's first Easter outfit extravaganza, because when I was a kid, everybody got their Easter outfit from J.C. Penney. But during the Great Depression, the economy crashed. Mr. Penny had some tough decisions to make, and instead of folding his business or closing his doors, he had a life insurance policy that he had some cash value in. He took it and kept the doors open. Also the same with Foster Farms. In 1939, they borrowed $1,000 to invest in an 80-acre chicken farm, and today they're going strong. Also, 1995, Walt Disney, he was unable to secure a bank loan, so he borrowed from the cash value of his life insurance policy to build Disneyland. Same thing in 1961 with Ray Kroc and McDonald's. He used the cash value from 2 life insurance policies to to use the funds to pay for marketing campaign for his new mascot, which would be Ronald McDonald. So whenever you see Ronald McDonald, just think, hey, Ronald McDonald became possible because of a life insurance policy. And also talks about the Pampered Chef in 1980 that Doris Christopher took that $3,000 out of his life insurance policy to get his company going. So I just think stuff like that is cool. Just knowing that with proper planning and dedication and really understanding what you're doing, man, life insurance can be a great thing for you. And so I just kind of want to leave you all with that, just kind of on a good note. And our time is kind of ran up on us already, but I'm definitely looking forward to next month. Every third Thursday of the month, we'll be back with you. I'll be doing more things. So if there's any questions, like I said, and also the Secure Act 2.0, I think we're going to jump into that on Facebook at my Al Moore Financial page. And if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, want to start up a little dialogue at some point, I think we're going to see if we can bring some people in to do live questions. But definitely send the questions to the people at KLEK, and I will do my best to answer them. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. And to the family of Miss Quabila Jones, thank you for sharing her with us. We are appreciative of you and of her, and she will forever be in our hearts and in our minds, our spirits. And I thank you guys. I'll catch you next time.